Then when you start recording. Mm.
All right, it starts. Mosquitoes are the most deadly animal on Earth. They kill more humans each year than other humans do. But there are more than 3,000 species of mosquitoes, and most of them prey on mammals or rely on blood for nutrition. Today we will be debating which of two species is more deadly to humans, the Culex fatigans or Aedes albopictus. Howdy, my name is Danica Hennings, and I am a biomedical sciences major at Texas A&M University in College Station, Texas. And I'm here today to tell you that Culex fatigans, more commonly known as the southern house mosquito, is the most dangerous species out there.
Howdy, my name is Aedes Mason, and I am a sociology major at Texas A&M University in College Station. I am here to express to you how Aedes albopictus mosquitoes, also known as the Asian tiger mosquito, are in fact the most dangerous species around.
Culex fatigans are members of the same species complex as Culex fasciitis. This means that the two insects are in the process of speciation, or becoming different species. Like most mosquitoes, they enjoy tropical regions, and in the US, they're found in the southeastern states. Most of the adult's body is a light tan color, except for the abdomen, which is striped a darker brown. The male adult can be distinguished from the female by a pair of extremely feathery antennae and large palps. The life cycle begins after a female has mated and goes to find a blood meal so they can use the protein to form eggs. They'll lay these eggs in the form of rafts on a pool of nutrient-rich, which is another word for filthy, standing water. Females are capable of laying thousands of eggs in their lifetime, and once these hatch, the larvae go through 4 instars before pupating and maturing into an adult. C. fatigans was spread throughout the world on commercial sailing ships throughout the 17th to 19th centuries. They're pretty good flyers, so traveling from one ship to another, or even in between islands, isn't too big a problem for them. Today, these are the most common mosquitoes to be found on airline flights, so they can get away around that way too. In addition to being nuisance biters, the southern house mosquito transmits a wide variety of diseases and parasites, and the combination of these is what makes it more dangerous than Aedes albopictus. C. fatigans is a known vector of West Nile virus, St. Louis encephalitis, Zika, avian malaria, and Western equine encephalitis. But these acute infections aren't the only things that these insects pass to humans. Lymphatic filariasis is a debilitating condition that occurs with the transmission of the nematode Wuchereria bancrofti.
Name the Asian tiger mosquito for its unique single white stripe going from its head down to the center of its back, and of course its Asian origins. The Aedes albopictus is mostly recognizable by its very silvery white markings covering its black body, distinctly setting them apart from many other mosquitoes. These mosquitoes come from the albopictus species and have become a significant pest across the world, especially because preference for associating with humans instead of resizing in wetland away from the cities. They range in size from 2 millimeters and can grow up to around 10 millimeters. However, size is mostly dependent on larval population and feeding supply and the breeding water that they are reproduced in. Despite these males of the species being at least 20% smaller than the females on average, unlike other species, they morphologically share the same similarities. However, one notable difference, like other mosquito species, is that they have antennae that tend to be bushier and have auditory receptors so that they can detect females in the area for mating purposes, whereas the females distinctly have a longer proboscis to make it easier for them to collect blood for the feeding offspring. Despite originating from Southeast Asia, the Aedes albopictus is a very invasive species and has spread throughout the world over the last 30 years, and most recently the USS. Traveling as eggs in imported goods such as tires and lucky bamboo, Aedes albopictus in the tropical regions are active throughout the year. Meanwhile, those in temperature populations are subject to seasonal temperatures like the other mosquito Like any other mosquito, they are sustained by blood, but also feed on nectar and other sweet plant juices. However, what makes them especially pestering is their susceptibility to cold temperatures, where they are known to adapt to lower temperatures and therefore feed throughout the winter, and their unique tendency to feed during the day as well as sunrise and sunset, making them more active than most mosquitoes, which just feed at sunrise and sunset. They commonly only act as nothing but a pest and an irritant in regards to human society, but do pose a threat of carrying and transmitting diseases such as Eastern equine encephalitis, West Nile virus, and dengue fever, and primarily chikungunya. Being an invasive species, these diseases, of course, travel with them and have impacted numerous populations throughout the world. Oh, yeah, I'm done.
So Culex fatigans is the more dangerous of these two species because of all the acute diseases they transmit and their wide range. As global warming continues, this will only be seeing a greater range increase further north and farther south. The resulting later winters and earlier springs are already having effects on when people can get all these diseases, and soon we'll be seeing higher transmission rates. So the danger that C. fatigans poses isn't only something that's occurring presently, but also their future threat. They're responsible for transmitting many different kinds of encephalitis, including West Nile, which has the highest number of cases of any type of encephalitis in the US. It's maintained a seasonal cycle since being introduced to America in 1999. And of course, there's the Zika virus that causes the microcephaly, or being born with those really small heads in babies whose moms have been infected.
Doesn't help. The Aedes albopictus is more dangerous than the Culex fatigans because of the various types of diseases that they can transmit throughout the world. They are very invasive species and so severe as much as they are very invasive species and so serve as much a bigger threat due to their capability to adapt to various environments. The species was most recently introduced to the United States and has spread Eastern equine encephalitis, West Nile virus, dengue fever, and chikungunya. Similar to the Culex fatigans, they also transmit the Zika virus. However, the Aedes species are the most common cause of Zika virus spreading, and because of their invasiveness and their ability to feed at the winter and adapt to temperatures as low as -5 degrees Celsius, make them more pervasive and pestering to the human population, especially in urban areas, and therefore more dangerous than Culex fatigans.
But it's not only acute diseases that are transmitted by C. fatigans, but conditions that can affect people for their entire lives. This is the case of lymphatic filariasis, which is commonly called elephantiasis. Wisharia bancrofti, a species of nematode that spends time developing in the mosquito, is injected into people when they're bitten. The worms mature, mate, and die inside the human, and their larvae are taken up by another insect bite. The dead adult worms decompose and accumulate inside the person, and they form scar tissue. And this all kind of falls down to where gravity is thickest, so like the feet and the legs. And this forms the elephant foot symptom that's characteristic of the disease. The skin thickens and can develop its own bacterial infections. And because it's all scar tissue, there's no way to drain the swelling, and it sticks around for a lifetime without a true cure. It's affecting millions of people in sub-Saharan Africa and has a lasting impact on whether or not they can work and provide for their family and make money and that kind of thing.
Although Culex fatigans can transmit diseases that cause problems for victims of their entire life, they aren't near enough at the death risk that the Aedes albopictus are. Probably the most problematic disease that they vector is the dengue disease, especially in the third world countries with lack of access to good medical treatment. The dengue fever, when treated, has mortality rates of 2 to 5%. However, when left untreated, mortality rates go up to 20%. Their ability to spread diseases is further boosted by their high activity rate throughout the year. Unlike other mosquitoes, they spend more time breeding and feeding, therefore resulting in an increased rate of transmission of diseases and bite cases, which is why they are renowned for their infestive and pervasively pestive nature. The fact alongside their invasiveness and ability to feed over the winter periods and surely make the Aedes albopictus more dangerous than the Culex fatigans.
So, as we've seen, the Culex fatigans is far more dangerous than Aedes albopictus, because I'm right. It is a threat when it comes to both direct diseases and facilitating the spread of chronic conditions. Encephalitis sicknesses kill thousands of people every year and cause irreparable brain damage to those who don't die. Given the widespread nature of this mosquito, this presents a worldwide risk that especially endangers people living in poverty. In addition to these, lymphatic filariasis, also called elephantiasis, is responsible for an exorbitant amount of years spent in reduced quality of life. C. fatigans is a more critical issue because of the combination of acute and chronic diseases it spreads. More research into its life cycle and transmission of the various illnesses would be instrumental in increasing daily quality of life all over the world.
As I've demonstrated through factual evidence, Aedes albopictus is much more dangerous than the Culex fatigans due to their ability to transmit more types of harmful diseases, and also due to the fact that most of the diseases that are spread by the Culex fatigans are primarily and more commonly spread by the Aedes albopictus. Also, the Aedes albopictus are much more invasive and a worldwide threat due to their ability to adapt to various environments, and as a vector of disease that could possibly have such a high mortality rate makes them especially dangerous. Furthermore, they are more of a threat to the people due to their preference to urban areas, which are accommodating for their breeding tendencies, which makes them more of a pervasive threat to denser human populations. In addition, they can feed over the winter and adapt to colder temperatures, unlike other mosquitoes, all in all making them more dangerous than the Culex fatigans. More extensive research on how these species are able to feed over the winter and their breeding tendencies would be pivotal in furthering our understanding and how to combat their pervasiveness and therefore bettering of human society.